So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be joined on Overpass with London Lynx versus Crisp Gamers. I'm again Yumi, and I'm here with, again, the beautiful B-Magic.
Thank you. I am beautiful. You're not so bad yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I can't disagree. And
Yeah,
humble,
I sort of threw that in there to shake things up a bit.
yeah, in case anyone's missed that, I've brought that up a couple of times already. Look, we didn't expect to be here on the decider of a match between London Lynx and a mixed team that I think probably no one even paid any attention to coming to this event. They were just a sort of an also-ran. But here they are in the decider of the lower bracket semi-final against Lynx. And if they win this, Lynx are home, and they're very, very close to finding themselves into the lower bracket grand final. So, look, this is becoming more exciting by the minute.
Yeah, London Lynx is the type of team I would have expected would be good on this map, considering I praised the way that they play off each other, but considering the way that Inferno went, and that's another map that can really highlight teams like that, I'm not really sure who has the advantage in this, aside from the fact that Crisp Gamers have started on the CT side.
Yeah, that's right. That's a knife round decision, of course, this being the deciding map. But we may as well jump right into it, as we have the pistol here. And, of course, yes, as you mentioned, London Lynx on the T side, just a Molotov and a smoke grenade on the IGL Trouble, who's also carrying the bomb. And it looks like a gentle pace to start the round, trying to catch any aggression from the CTs, which isn't forthcoming. So we have a gentle introduction to the decider.
Yeah, I think it's something I saw London Lynx do actually in the best of three I saw yesterday on Overpass, is that they like to wait to see if that player will peek it from the party position and maybe make that early rotation over towards B. And it seems like that is exactly what the Crisp Gamers are doing, but Crisp they are, as Nexi gets that first kill, but not able to get the follow-ups as Cyber and Trials combine between them, get 4 kills, 2 apiece, and it puts Crizzy in a terrible spot, 1 versus 4, and Trials will finish it off with a nice 3K in the pistol round.
Yeah, that's a great start from Trials. He didn't really get much done on Inferno, so he'll be looking to redeem himself on this deciding map. It was important for Lynx, who probably had their confidence slightly knocked in what we probably would say was a one-sided second map in the favour of Crisp. So it's important here that they got off to a good start and potentially get their confidence flowing on the T side of Overpass, which can be quite momentum-based if you play a fast brand of CS, which to be fair, now having said that, is not really the London Lynx style, but we'll see what approach they take into it as we have a force buy here from Crisp.
So London Lynx now are working their way up onto the B site. As that seems like the plan from the very start of this round. Birdie will be the one to lead the charge into the site, but there are players coming in from short and connector that they have to worry about. I don't know how many players there are in that particular instance, and pushing around that smoke, Breeze will find a nice kill into Ryback, but the bomb does go down, and very quickly into a 3 versus 3. Dexy will try to make his way through this smoke, but almost faking things out a little bit as Breeze and Archer will work their way up short, able to get that kill onto Trials, and they're quickly converging onto the side, and Breeze turns around, finishes things off with a 4K in the second, in a buy that I don't think they have any sort of winning.
They had no right really to win that. I mean, they had a force buy. Breeze was almost the catalyst for that by hiding at that sort of side position at short B, getting the terrorist jumping over his head and sort of starting a little bit of chaos unfolding. Also an interesting little tidbit, the flash was thrown in to try and retake through the smoke at Monster. That flash was effective. The CT then tried to push away, couldn't find the hole in Monster. But in doing that, it caused all of the attention to turn towards Monster, which allows Breeze to come out of short B and shoot a player in the side of the head. And at that point, they were able to trade favourably and win the force buy. So we're 1 apiece. London Lynx confidence perhaps back down the gurgler. And we'll see if we can have any consolidation or whether we're going to go back and forth again.
And we've seen so many of these second rounds just go the other way. And Dexy, because he did save in that previous round and because they didn't fully invest on every single one of those players, he's allowed to have an AWP and gets a nice opening into this round. Cyber is the one to go down, but they concede a lot of the bathroom's control, and Birdie will be kind of poking and prodding to see if he can find an additional player, and maybe then London Lynx will have an idea of what they want to call. But the bomb is making its way up long in the meantime, as Dexy is now trained on the bathroom position. Trials will go down, And into a 3 versus 4. Jumping through that smoke, not the best of plays for the London Lynx as Crizzy is holding it. And Birdie left all alone, has a deagle in hand, is able to land a nice shot into Murky, but nothing more as Crizzy answers back with one of his own.
15 all. Look, no. If you're going to flash through a smoke, as Lynx tried to do at Log A, the flash had better bloody work. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have a bunch of guys staring at that smoke, and you are toast. And that's what happened to Trials and whoever it was with him as they got murdered coming through Log A through that smoke. And the consolidation occurs for Crisp. They're 2-1 up against only the Glocks. And yes, absolutely $0 invested in from London Lynx, who are going to try and sneak into the Glocks, but they're just really donating to Murky, who mows him down with 79. That's $1,200 for his efforts. More kills than potentially Crisp would have liked coming into the Glocks of Lynx, but it's still going to be a comfortable 3-1 none. Finds the final frag for Cyber on bridge.
Unfortunately, the bomb does go down in that particular instance when they were trying to push up short. So Cyber, even though he was on the side and in a position to plant, he doesn't get that additional money that London Lynx could then use into this round. But Murky, actually, I sort of thought he would get all 4 kills on towards short, as he's sort of farming them with that MP9, but
he probably saw the Glocks come around the corner. He had the dollar signs light up in his eyes like those old cartoons. He thought, oh, I'm making myself 2,400 here, nice little 4K. But no, he probably runs out of bullets on the MP9.
So it does look like London Lynx are going over towards the B side as the bomb is over there, but Crizzy is making it so difficult for them. 3 kills going his way, but 2 to answer back. Trouble surviving on 19 HP. And Brody is a fair distance away, just posted on that monster angle, but should Trouble go down with the bomb, it puts it in a very tough position for him to then retake that bomb and try and make his way onto the site. So as time starts winding down, they're gonna progress up monster, see if they can get an opening and force the rotations from the Crisp Gamers, but one of these players is on a flank through connector that ultimately will pay no mind to, as the London Lynx have an opportunity now to cross onto the site, but Archer will take that opportunity from his hands and force Brody into a 1 versus 3. Bomb dropped, he does recover it, and Crisp Gamers are playing slow enough that being able to get that plant. But they are waiting for that teammate that is lurking over towards the monster tunnel to sneak up behind Brody. They will take his attention. Murky starts putting on his Nikes, and it won't ultimately matter. Archer takes him down in the end.
Yeah, they gave up the bomb plant there, but in exchange they safely ensured they won the round with 3 players alive, kept their 2 orbs, starting to build some bank, which I think is a pretty, it's a good enough trade. Of course, when he plants the bomb, they know precisely where he is. He has no way of getting off site, no utility to do so, not very maneuverable with the orb. So it was a foregone conclusion at that stage. They get $800, which could almost be do more harm than good, in that it's encouraged them to buy into this round with only 2 smoke grenades to support them. And if they lose this, then all of a sudden they're 6-1 down on the deciding map, and things are starting to spiral out of control really quickly. This same force buy mentality caused them that same problem on Inferno on that second round, on the second map of this best of 3, where they ended up losing the first 5 rounds in the half seemingly in the blink of an eye, because they ended up on having that light first buy round on account of them force buying in the second round of the half. But we'll see if they can make it work, with Cyber working his way up connector and the T's trying to take mid control.
Well, importantly as well, Murky and Dexy have both invested in AWPs, and that becomes very troublesome for the London Lynx. Again, as you said, very limited utility to deal with a weapon like that, and should they be able to close the distance using this bathroom position, maybe they can then get onto the site, and then the ult starts to work against the Crisp Gamers in terms of retaking the site. But Dexy will be pressured, and this is the first shot, and that's something that you can't be missing, is it leaves all of the attention on Archer. Does get 2 frags for his trouble, but the bomb will go down. They'll push past the smoke that was deployed over towards the stairs, and Trouble tries to make a play, but Ryback, 1 versus 2, does get Molotov out of position, and that puts things in an unwinnable state almost for Ryback, as if they do just decide to stick this bomb, he has to commit out onto the AWP of Murky, and he will land the shot. A 5th round converted for the Crisp gamers, and that economic situation that you were talking about before seems like it's going to be happening.
Yeah, great intuitive CS to push through the smoke. That moment while the bomb is being planted, while the T's pinning in the digits to plant the bomb, for that couple of seconds, then it's a 3v2 while that player is disabled, and they take advantage of that moment to burst through the smoke, get a frag, and enable that retake to occur. Of course, $800 could potentially tempt Lynx into buying again, as they're sort of building up that loss bonus now, but they're probably realizing that these rounds aren't working for them without some more utility to support that more structured playstyle, and they've opted to run a pistol half round to try bring in that bigger buy on the 8th round.
Archer's going to get a lot of pressure here, however. Just find 2 frags for his trouble, but Dexy will take that player down, but they have Bathroom's control. Only CZs in armor has things that they can use, and Birdie finds a nice little 2-tap with that CZ. I don't think it should be that accurate at that range, but that kill will go his way, and this round should close out for the Crisp gamers.
We're obviously in the deciding map, which means this map is further down in the map pool of London Lynx. It doesn't really matter for the mixed team of Crisp. So what we're going to see here, the question is whether Lynx have enough prepared to be able to push full utility teams off bomb sites, right? Because as you can see, you've got absolute full complement of grenades on the Crisp side. And when they haven't had that much time to prepare Lynx, they are a team, but they're a fairly new team. Whether they have that structure, the routines, the finishes prepared, that's going to work against fully prepared teams. But it's going to help if frags are donated early to them, such as Archer pushing mid by himself and trouble with the fadeaway.
That is absolutely ridiculous. He doesn't even consider stopping in that instance, just fires one shot and that player goes down instantly. So things open up towards the B bomb site. It seems as Birdie will get another pick onto Breeze, leaving Dexy in a 1 versus 4 from Heaven. He has picked up a frag earlier in this take. We'll get one more for onto Trouble, but it does seem like the type of position that, despite the fact that they are winning these rounds as convincingly as they are on the Crisp side, Dexy is making the smart decision to save his ult.
Yeah, look, there's no reason throwing it away for no reason. It's a fairly expensive bit of machinery, so every little helps, and these small decisions can accumulate later on in the half. I'm trying to think how many rounds the London Lynx need here to be competitive against a mixed side on Overpass that probably doesn't have anything prepared. The number that's coming to mind for me is probably 5. I reckon they need 5 T-side rounds. That's probably par for the course here. So they're going to pick up their second, but they're going to be careful not to be reset. Otherwise, they're going to run out of rounds. So let's see. Does the force buy come? They've got 2 ops, so they've got a buy around this. Indeed, they do. Oh yes, they've definitely got the money to do that. The utility finally for London Lynx is looking a little bit better. So whether we see if they've got any big executes, any big fast plays prepared, the time to bring them out is now.
Yeah, the slow play seems to be something that the London Lynx favor almost every single map that we've seen from them thus far, and that does seem like the type of thing that they are setting up to do themselves. They do take middle control rather early, but Archer is being in connector, and he will find Saiba as a result. But the escape from this connector is so difficult for him, but who needs to escape when you get one more frag onto Trials, bringing it into a 4 versus 3. The bomb will now be recovered as they have gotten an opening into the CT side, but there are 2 players committed to both of these sites now, and things start to become difficult for these London Lynx players, as even if they do successfully trade going into these sites, provided these CT players don't whiff the opportunities that they're given, then you could potentially find themselves in a 1 versus 2 post plant.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of an execute is coming in. Brody punishes Dexy for overfacing potentially from the default position on A. And by having that connect to control, it allows them to throw a bit of a fake on A. And the rotates are coming in from the CTs to the A bomb site, but that's not where London Lynx are. Murky is there in time to catch some players crossing across the default. Oh, and hits a second flick onto Brody and brings in a 3v1 after plant. That's fantastic AWPing by Murky. Didn't get faded into the rotation. Brizzy finds trouble while blind, and that is what London Lynx feared. The reset round has come in. Do they have enough of that? They've got $800 for that, maybe a little bit left over from the last round. This is a difficult decision for that IGL because there is not that many rounds left in the half. They said they needed 5. They got to find, what, 3 of the last 6.
Yeah. And after this bye, should it be unsuccessful for them, they're forced into I'd want to say a force bye because they're in that sort of weird monetary position where they have enough to pull off the CZ's armors and a bit of utility. But it does seem like London Lynx are deciding to change the pace up a little bit, focusing a little bit more towards Monster, but that Molotov will delay things. But I don't think that will impede on that London Lynx idea for this round. The flash will come through. The Breeze is spamming furiously through that smoke. It will get 1 onto Trials, but fully blind on that second flash. Nothing more for him. Frizzy on the pillar will go down after taking down a singular London Lynx player. So a man advantage going into this once Trouble gets that bomb down, but things start getting a little bit awkward with that Molotov, just sort of just heating his toes at the minute.
Breeze probably considers himself unfortunate not to get more kills as he was spamming into a very strong choke point. Dexy finds an AWP kill, however, onto Trouble at Heaven as one player wheels back around to short so they can control both retake spots on the after plant. And the time starts to tick down. Brody finds one on Archer. Dexy has been brilliant with that AWP, finds another kill onto Brody. He expects the last player to be short, but indeed his Monster. He's going to stick the defuse. Is Cyber going to pick him? He isn't! Oh no, pros don't fake. Cyber does manage to recover the AWP from Dexy, but that is a crucial round for the mixed team of Crisp, and London Lynx are left licking their wounds with nothing but oh, he didn't even get the AWP. He didn't even get the AWP, he only got the UMP. What a disaster.
That's one of those situations where it might even have been a call by one of his teammates because it looked like he wanted to commit out, but the scoping in while defusing really just throws it into a bit of chaos as you're unsure as to whether he's going to commit to it, and it's a tactic we've seen people use to then get anything to the site, but London Lynx have had enough of it. They're just going to barrel onto this B site, take down all of the players there, and very quickly into a 2 versus 2 retake. Dexy with the AWP from Heaven has been critical in getting these, or opening up these rounds for the Crisp gamers, but his teammate going down in Archer will make things a lot harder for himself as he starts to work all of these angles, singularly with this AWP. He's slipped on the angle, but the glass actually impedes that shot from taking down Trouble, and he will go down in the end.
You know what? If you had to ask me whether or that shot would kill through the glass on the first shot, I would have bet my bottom dollar that would be a hit. Yeah, it looked like it hit his body as well. That's unfortunate. If all else fails, rush B, huh? London Lynx have flipped the economic situation on their head, and now it's a force buy for Crisp, and there's some life in these London Lynx boys yet.
And hopefully they're able to chain a few rounds together to get to that sort of magical number you highlighted of at least 5 going into their CT side, where there is still a lot of importance lying on their pistol round, but they have at least a sort of 2 to 3 round buffer to sort of recover things and figure out how the Crisp gamers are going to be playing on their T half. But it seems like London Lynx are going back to the tried and true slow play, defaulting to make sure that these CTs aren't pushing too aggressively over towards one side of the map and are then able to cheat or rotate. But I do believe that there is a heavy connector presence from these Crisp gamers, as it looks like 2 of these players are inside of connector and 1 just lingering outside as a bit of a supporting player. But as a result of that emphasis on connector, the B bomb site is open for business, and they will start barreling in, trying to catch out these London Lynx players. And Dexy's able to find a kill on the Trouble somehow from the Heaven position, but very quickly all the remaining players will fall, and Frizzy on a bit of a late rotation does have armor, but shouldn't have a chance in winning this as his position is now given up on that frag onto Ryback, and he's not exactly in the best of spots to recover one of these weapons. He will likely just try to contain 1 or 2 of these London Lynx players into the bomb site and maybe catch them out as they start to retreat, and that does seem like the plan. He finds the low HP player, that is Trials, and he's going to die to the bomb anyway, so he's just going to try his best to keep them preoccupied. And ultimately he does go down, Cyber and Brody surviving on just under 48 free.
That's right. So we're creeping in on that magical number 5. I'm saying it's magical. I'm no authority on magical numbers, but it looks like they'll probably get this one for free. That man, one round can turn a game of CS, and that force by rush short B, and the subsequent 1-2v2 after plan. That's a huge turning point in this game, and indeed in this series when this is the deciding map, because without that round, it was going to just be a monster half from. And potentially a runaway from Crisp.
And you speak about Monster House, it does seem like they're just going to go out Monster onto the B-bomb site. There's not a single soul on the Crisp Gamer side over towards this site, but they are on a fast flank, 3 of them quickly going through, and Dexy will be joining them in this engagement. They do swing all into trouble, but he is making it so difficult for them to even contend, surviving on 62 HP, 3 kills to add to his stat line. And these players are so far away from each other, I don't think that they should be able to get one more exit here unless one of these players just turn around at the wrong moment.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Breeze to save a weapon. How many rounds have we got left in this half? Is this the second? No, there's 2 more after this. Look, what we saw, I want to wind back to something that we saw a couple of rounds ago, where Archer got 2 kills in Connector, and then he eventually dies, and that gave Lynx Connect control. That Connector, having control of Connector, is essentially a prerequisite to throwing any sort of fakes. So in order to be able to throw sort of fake on B, you want to be able to throw some nades and then run back up to Banana, or vice versa, run back down Connector. But if they continue to try spend 2 or 3 lives to get that Connect control, I barely think it's worth it. I think they're better just trying to trust their executes and their finishes onto the site and see if that can beat the defense of the big team. But walking through, Monster absolutely dry before the flash comes in, rather, is, oh, what a catastrophic decision. They've dropped the bomb. That's the round done. That's it.
And the bomb is up on the other side of that smoke as well, and potentially if it landed inside the middle of the smoke, maybe one of these London Lynx players might have been able to recover it, but yeah, Breeze finding a good opportunity to spam that smoke and peeked at just the right time to line every single one of those players up. Puts Brody in trouble in a terrible position to try and push past this 5th round, but Brody will at least make things a little bit interesting. Does take down Breeze, but again, that bomb dropped gives up a lot of information for the Crisp Gamers. As soon as they start hearing a presence, I don't doubt that they will try and aggress at that exact same moment. Brody does pick the bomb up, and it does seem like they are still over towards the B site as 40 seconds now remain in this round.
Is that connector door open? Is it going to make a noise? Is that going to be a clue that they're rotating back up to A? If it was closed, they didn't hear it open because we only have 1 player defending the A bomb site. But this is some expert positioning. It's going to be really hard to clear long A once Dexy hears the hit coming in. In fact, they don't clear it. Dexy gets the first kill into trouble, and now the game is up. Brody's going to get the bomb down, which gets him an extra bit of money, which isn't really required at this stage. The retake from 4, he gets 1. But that is the round, and it looks like it is going to be a contest to see whether they get on the last round past that magic number of 5 that we keep talking about. Look, I don't like criticizing another IGL's decisions because I know how tough the role is, but I really don't see why a hit through a monster smoke like that was necessary. That is a real big gamble when you know you have more utility. You can play that slower, more structured round and wear the other team down in terms of utility. So perhaps a bit of a tactical error, and it opens the door up for Crisp.
And it looks like London Lynx are now setting up into sort of an aggressive default here. Still having a player over towards B to keep things in check for the CT side, make sure that they can't over-rotate things through. But Archer gets, I'm not sure if that would have been a supportive flash into Connector, but does get blinded into Connector, and it's an easy frag for Ryback. And that tiny hole in the door does spot Saiba, so a nice little way to put things back into an equal numbers opportunity for both of these sides.
We talk about the little things. I want to know who blew that hole in the door. Whether it was Lynx who have blown the hole in the door that's allowed that frag to come in. But the hit comes in now from Monster.
And they will start pushing onto the site. Murky and Crizzy are in the water, so Murky will be the first one to take contact. He should continue to take fights, as they might not suspect that a second player would be there, but Crizzy will try his best to support. Brody takes him down, and things get very, very awkward. These players still rotating through water and making a nuisance of themselves, but there's trouble in the waters, and Dexy left in a 1 versus 2. The AWP's notoriously bad for retaking, but if he finds an opportunity to take down Brody on the site, it really opens things up for him, as Trouble is still holding that cross him. Brody was waiting to take contact, but this half will finish at a 9-6 score.
Yeah, I don't think either team will be either especially pleased or displeased with that. I think that's fairly even, and the match is still wide open going into the final half of this best of 3 series. We saw there the Molotov come in at ramp on that final B hit. It's always a difficult decision when designing a B hit. I'm not sure if that was done on the fly or whether that was designed, whether you Molotov that position, because that Molotov can sometimes prevent you trading out those players that are in water. It gives them something to hide behind, and Murky potentially could use that Molotov to protect himself while he got more kills. Didn't turn out in their favor, however, and we're into the pistol round now as Archer finds his first kill, which is traded by Cyber.
And interestingly, as a mixed team, they've actually invested into 2 sets of smokes and flashes for both the for Crizzy and Archer. Archer was one of those players that did have a smoke and fake things over towards A, but things get very, very difficult for the London Lynx side as these players are playing close and personal. Dexy finds another one, equalizing things at 2 apiece, but they have to be concerned of getting shot from both sides. Ryback and Saiba converge, and they retake the site successfully.
Yeah, some crisp head shooting there from Cyber. Probably not the known fragger on the team necessarily, but he managed to hit a sick flick, to use the young kids lingo these days, out of that connector door onto a player at short B, which sort of opens up the B site for them and lets them into this half.
Yeah, so what I was trying to highlight amongst that sick flick was the fact that despite them being a mix, it seemed like they went in with a very heavy strategy into this pistol round, and Archer even getting that kill onto A held up those rotations as they weren't sure whether they would end up committing out into middle. But it does seem like Crisp have now another idea of pushing over towards long A. Not a single soul on the London Lynx side will have any information as to whether that's happened or not. But 2 of these players are playing very close to each other over towards bathrooms. And I do believe that there is a smoke sitting there, as Archer and Trials a lot closer than they might think to one another.
Remind me, did the bomb go down in the pistol round?
Yes.
Why on earth is Murky buying a deep skin?
I wouldn't be able to tell you as well. This round is a bit of a throwaway for Crisp, so London Lynx bring it within 1, and hopefully they're able to regain the lead after winning the pistol on their T side. Right.
So look at this. Murky's put a deagle into that second round, which is never going to be won because none of your players had armor. He's now having to play this round with absolutely no utility. Deagle's what? $700?
Yep.
Smoke a couple of flashes.
Yeah.
I know what I'd prefer. Rather than an off chance of a kill in the second round, I'd prefer that utility on the first buy round against the no upgrade. But alas, he's going to have to do without, as the no upgrade round comes in from London Lynx, and a light buy comes in from Crisp. I keep forgetting their name, Crisp. I know it's not actually Crisp, is it? It's something a little bit less appropriate, but we're going to go with Crisp for now.
So they have taken short water control, the Crisp side, and the bomb will be dropped there. Maybe there's potential for that to have been heard by the London Lynx side, but there are a few players that like to throw their weapons down on the ground and kind of fake out that noise. So maybe not going to cheat a rotation just yet, as the bomb does start making its way over towards A if Dexy could figure out how to jump onto a pallet. But
needs to get in those KZ servers and start practicing.
Yeah,
it's bringing the bomb back down the long way. I'm not sure if they had Connect control or not. There's no CTs in Connect, and maybe they're not aware of that, and they're going to find the player hiding at that close angle at Banana. Brody finds himself a second, but gets traded, and that's a 3v3, and that's the A side opened up. Ryback is a very, very long rotate back to A because he's playing a long way away on that monster angle. couple of innovative smokes there used by Truck, that's very impressive for a mixed team. Trouble is forced to play around them. Next gets the first kill against the retake. Trouble finds the second, and we're into a 2v2. Ryback is going to be late, but in doing so, he comes up and throws a Molotov in front of the toilets, allowing Trouble to work his way around Truck, comfortably get a kill. Murky working his way out from Bank. The bomb is planted for him, and no, Ryback finds the headshot on him at Bank. So that's a crucial round. But importantly, they did at least manage to get 4 kills in a bomb plant.
Yeah, those smokes that you highlighted are actually really great for the way that that London Lynx tried to get out onto that bomb site. They effectively create a wall of smokes using that truck as sort of the barrier. So
I'm impressed that a mixed team can throw. That's not a normal smoke wall to throw. I've seen it before, but I haven't seen it very many times. I'm very impressed that a mixed team has managed to coordinate throwing that smoke wall. Maybe they worked on it in between games.
They knew this game would be quite difficult for them. And
they've been on the Hatton Games YouTube tutorial videos in between maps, perhaps.
Yeah, always good to plug a UK boy.
Yeah, he does good work, does that.
So we will see a little bit of a limited investment into this round, similar to what we saw on the last map, where Murky and Dexy will only get pistols, as they're likely to invest into AWPs themselves. Not likely to invest into 2, but one of those no armored players will go down in the form of Murky. And the terrorists have actually made their way quite far up the bathrooms without getting spotted by any of these CTs. So there's potential for, I think that there is a smoke that Trials is sitting behind, and should that smoke start to fade, sometimes that will favor either one in that engagement, but it doesn't matter as Dexy will fall. So this looks like it's going to shape up to be a fairly clear-cut round for the London Lynx and push them into the first lead that they've had since the pistol round.
Yeah, quite right. They won the first round, but since then it's been all crisp. But these rounds are fairly foregone conclusion. $800 bonus from the bomb plant for Trouble. Finds himself a bonus frag as well, but that is indeed the lead for the London Lynx. Bit of alliteration there.
I kind of had this as a write-off round, but that sort of dodgy spray that Cyber delivered at the end there had me a little bit nervous.
Had you a little bit worried? I was busy wafting. I'm not even sure how they got onto the site for the bomb plant. Perhaps a bit of a mistake there for London Lynx, but no real harm done. Here comes the double AWP on T side overpass. Well, call me a monkey's uncle, because I can't see how you'd use 2 AWPs on the T side of overpass here. They've got 2 AWPers, but one of them surely has to rifle on a map like overpass. They're going to prove me wrong, probably, but let's see what they do with this.
Might not be expecting if the noise made by one of these AWPs draws the attention of London Lynx and they sort of highlight it amongst themselves, then maybe there's enough time for the other AWP to sort of get an opening.
What's that? Is that the Adren $5,000 decoy? Is it?
It could ultimately be that, but hopefully they would be firing a little bit more than blanks.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Look, if you're going to invest this much into 2 AWPs, you better hope the AWPs get one of the picks. It's interesting to see how much London Lynx are leaning. Oh no, I was looking at the minimap there. I thought they were playing 3 players on A, but that's not the case. It's kind of, London Lynx really aren't they're not really gathering up. I suppose they got the jump spot which has got them the information that there's a presence at short B, which gives them some confidence in leaving 3 players on the B side, which is going to end up being correct. Archer, as one of the slowest peaks known to man, falls to right back. I'm not sure why he didn't launch himself off that pipe, which you can indeed do silently. Dexy pins the cross, and wow, what a great reaction time from him. He manages to get the kill crossing and finds another one, while Breeze trades for 1-for-1 with Crizzy as well, giving themselves a 3v2 scenario. Brody misses an AWP shot from that graffiti position.
But as highlighted before, there are 2 AWPs on this T side, and Murky, the last one standing, will get into a 1-versus-1 engagement with Trouble, but he will miss the shot, and London Lynx will get their first round lead outside of 1. And the side of Crisp Gamers will be forced into a bit of a weird situation where some of them can buy, but some of them will be left with a bit of a strange investment into this round.
True. We talk about rounds making a difference in the game. Boy, that 1v1 just then could be what decides this series. That could have really flipped the momentum of this game if they managed to pull that round off. But Murky misses the shot. He's been great so far, but he doesn't hit that one. And they're into another light buy, and they're down 4v5 early as Brody finds a pick with his AWP.
And something we might notice is that they invest into that double AWP, and it ultimately didn't find them picks into the site so much as they used it to trade effectively going into the B bomb site. But if they potentially saved enough money, or maybe invested into an AK, maybe one of those players could have invested into potentially a glass cannon AWP for this round, and would then be able to challenge the AWP that Brody has for the side of London Lynx.
I think what's clear is they don't have a plan for that double AWP. They've got two AWPers who are buying AWPs and hoping they get kills with them. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and that's fair enough. They are a mixed team, and they're trying to use the skills that they have available to them. But there was no real cohesive strategy to utilize the fact that they had two AWPs. They didn't pin both sides of the maps and try to punish aggression or anything like that. They almost played them like they were rifles. But looks like we have a bit of a hit coming into the A bomb site here from Crisp. And it's going to have to come in quickly, otherwise they're going to get rotated upon.
Yeah, there is actually a flank coming out from one of these London Lynx players. He's actually committed towards Connector, and he will catch out Archer, attempting to make his way over towards the A bomb site. Dexy, the lone man left alive, will fall down to Brody, and Brody with that AWP finds 4 frags in that round, and is so pivotal on that A site.
Yeah. I mean, can you afford to have that lurk so far behind when you only have 2 guys to actually hit the site? It feels perhaps that player would be better positioned actually with the pack that's hitting the bomb site to give them that extra firepower, that extra trade, to at least give them an afterplant scenario. A lurker is no good to you if he's left in a 1v4 situation. You have to at least give him an afterplant or a late round scenario to work with, so they didn't really have the numbers to afford that. I prefer if they grouped up before.
It almost looked like a bit of an oversight from the Crisp gamers as time started winding down, and that player didn't maybe have the opportunity to regroup before they decide to hit that site. But it does look like they're gonna forego the idea of the lurker and just rush out with these upgraded pistols onto the B bomb site. Chrissy does find one, but with a mid-reload will take a lot of damage in doing so, and these players are dropping for the side of Crisp gamers, but they did get the bomb down, and that'll be a small victory in itself, as all the London Lynx players outside of trouble will survive going into that retake.
Yeah, this is where spending even one day preparing with a mixed team coming into LAN can be worth its weight in gold, because it kind of looks like the mixed team here is running out of ideas. They don't really have something to fall back on. If they even had one strategy borrowed off a good overpass team like Astralis, just to throw in at an emergency situation like this, then that might be able to get them that all-important round. But it looks like they're relying on that sort of default style map control-ish going for picks play, which hasn't really been working for them so far. And it's going to start working soon, otherwise they are going to be sent packing.
Well, I do believe that we saw like the smokes that they threw on towards the A-bomb side was something that may not be a practiced execute, but is something that did at least allow them to get the bomb down and retreat into decent enough post-plant positions. But
so they got something. They've got something there. Whether that's
almost every time that they've gone A afterwards, they've had no utility to even replicate that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Did some of these players play on the same team? Maybe that's where they got that from. Is there something they can draw from here? Because really, they're just getting picked apart. They seem to be wafting around the map without any real purpose, any real cohesion in the finishes to the rounds. So yes, Brody's already managed to find a pick for the London Lynx, and it's 5v4 with 40 seconds left, as it looks like the hit is going to converge back to the A bomb side. Dexy finds a player in long toilets, and they're going to speed the pace up with only 30 seconds rather than the clock. It's now pressure on Brody as they come to the B side. His first click onto Chrissy, and the flash slows down the hit, which allows the rotations to come in from B side. All CT players now converging on the A bomb side of the bomb is down with only 15 seconds left. There is a player having a snooze on the B bomb site. What is he doing? What is that? Who is that? What's going on? What number is this? Breeze. Dear me, Breeze. Breeze has had some fantastic flanks earlier in the series, but he seems to be way out of sync with his team in this round. And they are forced to save. At least they saved 3 guns. But 14 rounds now up for London Lynx, and they have to find something very, very quickly.
Yeah, it just seems like the Chris gamers are just running out of time. They don't have everybody communicating as to what they want to do as that time starts to wind down. 40 seconds on the clock, and Bree still hasn't moved from the B-bomb site. I think he started making his way towards connector and then doubled back towards the B-bomb site with 15 seconds left on the clock, and only 2 players able to even contest the bomb being dropped on the A site. But they will speed things up a bit, maybe not trying to factor in time too much this time, as Breeze will find the trade onto Trials quickly into a 4 versus 4, and they've taken Bathroom's control and at least forced a rotation from the London Lynx. This is where I'd like to see that they might slow down and reevaluate the situation, maybe have London Lynx guessing a bit as to which of these bomb sites they're going to end up hitting.
Yeah, at least they seem to have control of the middle of the map, so if they get the pick, they can always go back down to B if they can trigger those rotations, and that's a fantastic pick with Breeze, who is not one of the 2 AWPers on the team, but seems to have found himself with the AWP, so go figure. And yes, indeed, they're using the fact that they have control of the middle of the map to move the bomb back down to find the isolated player in Cyber on B. And if they time this correctly, they're going to find themselves with 3 on 1. Cyber, who doesn't immediately get the first kill in his position in the field. He hits the headshot, tucks back into the water, and finds the second. That's brilliant defense from Cyber. And that leaves Dexy guessing. I don't know where the comms were there. How is Cyber allowed to get 3 kills? Breeze, the non-AWP of the AWP, is left in a 1v3, but he gets taken down by a nade from Ryback to bring up match point for London Lynx. And
Cyber's played that anchor position perfectly there. He's gotten the tag damage onto that first player. He then finishes him off through the edge of the box, and it gets isolated 1 versus 1s, but that's the type of thing that you hope Chris gamers are able to communicate effectively, that yes, this guy is alone. We haven't seen a single other player on the bomb site. We need to kill him and get this bomb down, but able to get 3 as a result of that, and London Lynx now on match point, where I'm not sure, based on the rounds that we've seen from Chris, I don't think they've won a singular round on their T side thus far.
I think they've got one somewhere. I'm just going to press tab to find out. But it looks like the hits coming in. When all else fails, rush B. I think that London Lynx, the trades come in thick and fast, and there's 3v2 in the afterplant. The rotation is fast. Molotov comes out onto default, but that's not where he's finding the bomb. Trials finds a kill to start the retake from Heaven. It's now 2v2. Crizzy slows the pace down in short B. He's only got a little to work with. Trials pokes his nose out of Heaven. Gets shot a couple of times and is forced back. Breeze, headshot onto Brody, and now it's 2v1. So only Trials already been revealed. He spams, drops down into the water. Breeze aware of his position. He manages to cross the ground. They're playing good 1-2 positioning here and managed to take Trials down. They've got 5 rounds to go. They had to win that round as match points. They've got to win 5 more to bring this into overtime. UK LAN, overpass, overtime are right next to each other in the dictionary of those words, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We've been favoring a bit of alliteration in certain instances. Yeah, that's what I tried to highlight earlier, is that that's the first round that Chris gamers have had on their T side thus far, and
oh yes, yeah.
Hopefully they're able to chain a few of these rounds together now that they've at least. I'd like to think they have I'd hope that round isn't a fluke, and that they have a little bit of a better understanding as to how London Lynx are playing their CT side.
Well, the round before that, they were at least able to manipulate the round. They took control of the map, they controlled the mid part of the map, got a kill on A, pulled the rotations across, isolated Cyber on B, moved back down connector to B, 3v1, fluffed it. Or perhaps I should say Cyber played it fantastically. But that was good default style CS. They need to find a couple more of these rounds to put London Lynx onto Eco, but with the money of London Lynx, unfortunately, they're probably going to need to win 3 or 4 genuine buy rounds if they're able to bring this to overtime.
And Charles sat behind that little one-way smoke that he put down in that divider or guardian position, as some may call it.
Knowing Trials, it wasn't a one-way smoke. He probably just missed it.
No. But he got the information that one of these players was moving over towards long, and so a rotation had been completed over towards the A bomb site. There is Brody, and still one more to find on the A bomb site. As now the B anchor player will start committing up. Brody left alone at truck as he's these positions are smoked off. Cyber will try to push through the smoke to support his teammate, but Breeze gets both of those kills. Now also Ryback and Murky will finish things off with that AWP.
2 critical kills from Breeze there. He had a minor indiscretion before finding himself isolated from his team on the B bomb site when they needed him over on A. But he goes away to making up for it there with 2 critical after plant kills, using the molly well there to trap Brody in that truck position and prevent him from peeking into them. And looks like they put London Lynx on eco on the CZs. Well, it's a forced buy, isn't it? Really, I don't know why they're forcing with only 4 rounds left in the half. But the mid push comes in. Yeah,
they are pushing aggressively together. And Archer should go down as a result, so they can recover an AK-47 going into this. And considering that they have forced up and they have got armor on all of these players, this is the type of situation where you'd like to see that if they're able to find 1 or 2 more picks, then maybe they can go for this. But just prioritize saving that weapon and having a better buy going into the next round. But as I say that, the AK-47 will go down that London Lynx were able to recover. So Breeze finds both of those frags, leaving it all now onto Cyber with this Deagle. He finds a nice headshot into Chrissy. Fantastic little 1D, but dropping out of heaven, he will find himself deceased in hell.
Sure. Let's have a look here. So that's why they were doing the pistol half, so they could get the big buy here. Usually when it comes down to the last 4 rounds, when you're on match point, you can kind of do the math to figure out, right, we're going to get 2 buys here, so we have to force buy. You can sort of do the math, and it's sort of a solved equation as to what you should do in any particular round. They didn't realize they had so much money, so that's obviously why they were forcing into that round. They can still get the full buy here. 3 rounds to go to bring it back to overtime. Can they do it?
Yeah, I'm starting to become a believer as they've chained at least a few of these rounds together, and the London Lynx haven't made really much of a dent into this terrace side economy. And the economy doesn't factor into it too much, more so that they haven't been able to get these trade kills, at least crucially on their CT side, or get these kills as the Ts have entered their bomb sites. But it does seem like the Crisp gamers are moving slowly and taking as much control as possible, but the London Lynx are not far behind. 2 players committed over towards long, and one of them is pushed to flank behind Party. He is in an incredible position to swap them out, but Dexy checks that flank at just the right opportunity, and Trouble will be absolutely gutted he didn't get more for that, as I do believe he had a player trained in his sights, but decided to play a more patient game and not unable to capitalize on that opportunity.
Great awareness from Dexy there, and that gives them the man advantage. They're down to 40 seconds. They're leaving this late. Are they aware that there's a player in Banana in long toilets? Is this bomb going to get caught? It's Trials. He manages to get 1 and stay alive. Dexy knows his way, doesn't exactly to crouch spray into it. And even though Ryback has found the lone man Murky over at short B, the A bomb site has been opened up and the bomb plant will come in from Dexy.
And Cyber sitting behind the smoke, Archer just on the other side of it. Depends on which one of them wants to aggress. It seems like Archer is getting a little bit antsy and wants to clear this bank position to a better post plant, but won't check things properly, and Cyber loses track of him in that smoke as it begins to fade. Forces Ryback into a 1 versus 3, but he's just going to completely concede this round and try and save this M4 going into the next one.
Yeah, so it's crunch time now. There's going to be 2 rounds left. I don't think they have a genuine buy here. So they've got 1 saved M4. I don't think they can really afford to buy around this because they want to have a good buy until the last round. So next round they got a saved M4, but this is bonus roll of the dice this next round. So we're really down to 1 genuine buy round,
and that will be the last round of our of the game, or potentially this match.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope it comes down to that. I do like a bit of tension because. It would be a shame if a force by 1 out on to end such a good series like this. But they have indeed invested a little bit. They've got some half armor on all of the players and some CZs. We know how vicious those CZs can be, and this could potentially be dangerous if they're not expecting. If they're expecting the full eco, this could be dangerous. Looks like they're going to go for the flash monster play potentially, but Chrissy is there. Oh, finds 1 headshot through the smoke. He doesn't even need to see the flash to know that they're coming. And ends up in connector, and it looks like the force buy is not going to mount to anything. We're going to get our wish, which is round 30.
Well, the Treble has recovered.
Whoa, hold on. Whoa, hold on.
this begins to get dangerous, but he's, despite having that AWP, he's just gonna barrel on through that smoke, and I'm not sure what he was expecting to find on the other side, but it definitely wasn't a round win. So we are now on match point, or potentially the round that pushes this game to overtime. Chris Gamers trying to successfully chain their 6th round in a row to force an overtime, and the London Lynx haven't looked too hot in these past 6 rounds. As you say, it's beginning to get to crunch time, and nobody really stepping up for this London Lynx squad and delivering on multi-frags or setting up opportunities to really put themselves in an advantageous position.
Yeah, look, Crisp, on the other hand, have found another gear here. They've pulled an extra ace out of their sleeves, and they're started to chain some rounds together. So this is it. Round 30, best of 3, deciding map. And Lynx have taken some long A control, and they've set themselves up with 2 A players at long A, leaving Banana completely free. But that's not been exploited yet. Trouble has been punished. I wonder if they're going to be aware if there's a second player hiding behind that tree at long A. It looks like they're not even going to explore that part of the map. The bomb stays patient, waiting in party, and starts to reposition the troops. The troops are called back over to B. Maybe they're going to try a contact monster. Nobody knows. They've got a 2-2 split of the CT, so are hedging their bets evenly on the sites. If the first kill goes down on either of these sites in the favor of the Ts, then it could be overtime, and that seems to be what's about to happen.
Yeah, Ryback and Cyber doubling up in that pit position. We saw Cyber have a crucial round for London Lynx in this spot, and one of those players does get tagged down considerably low, and that is Ryback, but he's able to find a frag regardless. Brody chimes in as well with that AWP, and into a 2 versus 3, but Archer is on a flank, and I don't know that Brody's heard him. Gets that first kill, but Trials is going to try his best to pull this back and into a 1 versus 2. Got that first kill on short, so it would then convert it into a 3K, but it is so difficult for him to find both of these players with the time that he has. He does have a kit to work with and a fair bit of utility, so should he decide to, he can smoke this bomb and begin to make these Crisp Gamers question whether he's fully defusing. He finds the first kill onto Dexy, and he's unable to land the follow-up onto Archer. It looks like this game will be going to OT, and in fantastic fashion. Crisp able to chain those 6 rounds together at the very end of regulation.
This is really quite something to see a mixed team backs against the wall. These are some reasonably inexperienced young players against some probably significantly more experienced players on the side of London Lynx. Looking down and out, and yet they've managed to find an extra gear seemingly out of nowhere to bring this back to overtime. Wow, we're in for some excitement here as the AWP comes back in Murky, onto Murky, and the economies are resupplied on both teams.
Unfortunately, after that one little flub that we had where we were talking about how they did pick up the double AWPs on T side, ever since it has been the singular AWP onto Murky instead. Dexy conceding that he is maybe the secondary in this team, as Cyber will find a nice kill onto Murky to open things up for the London Lynx, but there's potential for that to be a tad too late. Overtime seems to change everybody's mindset as they start to get more aggressive and try to get more opportunities for themselves in these rounds. And Brody will give another opportunity to himself, finding a follow-up kill, bringing it onto a 5 versus 3.
That's very quickly into overtime there. There seemed to be almost no delay between halves, no time for either team to regroup their thoughts. Often you'll see a change in approach when it flicks into overtime. Archer finds a kill onto Trials, but Brody with that AWP was very effective onto Breeze, and it's 2v4 early into this overtime. It seems like the run of T-side rounds will start up, then there's Trouble peeks around the corner, but indeed gets punished by Dexy to give themselves an outside chance in this round. Brody with that AWP in truck position has been seen with that AWP, and yet again he finds the kill. The entry kill as Dexy tries to work his way onto the A-bomb site, leaving Archer with only 13 health in a 1v3. He does have the bomb, he's at the front right flower beds of the A-bomb site. How's he going to get himself past Brody? Free firing? No, Brody's wise to it. He hits the shot, and that's the first round of overtime for London Lynx.
Yeah, and that's a critical 4K from Brody, holding things down on the A-bomb site. Finds the opening pick, and as they start regrouping their thoughts and saying, yes, we're going to commit onto this A site, he picks them apart one by one, and he's able to reposition in between those kills and give himself a new opportunity to find a frag. So it's good to see that the London Lynx have at least found something that they can hopefully rely on moving forward, as we've gone past our first round of the overtime. London Lynx onto a 16th round, and there's a lot of aggression on towards middle. London Lynx have shown a lot of presence, but they're on the other side of that playground wall, so neither of them going to be spotting each other just yet. And Breeze will kind of do a solo thing for himself over towards the B-bomb side, looking for a pick for himself, but gives an opportunity for Ryback to take him down. And given that they have found a pick across the map, the London Lynx side will concede middle and fall back, but maybe not fast enough, as Archer catches Cyber trying to aggress into connector and quickly back into a 4 versus 4.
So look how separated the bomb is from the rest of the team here. The bomb seems to be working towards B. At least the retake is coming in onto short B. The repositioning, they've taken that map control. Brody again from his truck position for York finds Archer, but the rest of the team, the rest of the teams are moving on to the B bomb site, and they seem to taken that bomb site fairly uncontested and give themselves an afterplant, but Trouble finds the first kill that retake, the second and the third. Trouble with 3 kills, and the key retake there coming in for London Lynx to bring it to 17-15. We've had a quick substitution of casters in. Who have I got next to me now?
I'm Novi, I'll be jumping in. Yumi just has to take a quick break. So we've caught in the middle of an overtime, 2 rounds gone so far. It is not full buy because of it's a 10k limit on the overtime.
They did buy a couple of orcs. Looks like they're going for the rush B approach. They run through the mold, damage, and now it's probably going to be Cyber in trouble. And the rest of the London Lynx boys just mopping up the scraps as that round takes all of about 5 seconds.
Making really short work on that entry, sort of denying any of the hard CC put down by the Crisp side.
It seemed like Crisp had really drafted their way back into to bring this to overtime, and seemingly in the blink of the eye, they're facing yet another 3 match points. This time, they'll be facing them from their CT side, which they seem to have a little bit more control over. They've got the double up out yet again, which has been sort of the flavour of their CT sides and all maps so far on Murky and Dexy. And it looks like Lynx are opting for sort of a fast short B. Murky holding that ever so popular short B angle with your finds the opening frag to start the second half of overtime on the deciding map between Lynx and Lynx.
Yeah, beautiful entry by Murky. 3 holding B site. 2 CT players on A holding either side. We'll see grenades coming through. Defensive flash thrown. Case of push, and Murky finding an excellent shot. Breeze doubles up. Find the third. That's it. Very nicely done, and that's the exact kind of play that we want to see if they're going to bring it back and push it to second overtime.
So that's 1 down, 2 to go. We've got now money is no longer. Of course, money is not a problem when they're facing match points. We're substituting the casters back out. The toilet break is finished, so it's all happening. It's all happening at once here. But yes, two more rounds to find yet another overtime. What is it with UK and overtime games? What are London Lynx going to try now? They didn't really show that they had a whole bunch of set executes, but they are supposed to be the prepared team in this scenario. But it is, as we were talking about, towards the end of the map pool, right? So they don't have as much prepared as perhaps we saw on Inferno. So it's not like they have the big set plays that they can call on. So they try and play this on map control default style of CS. But in this round, they're trying to opt to do so without connect control, which means, as I mentioned before, if they don't have connect control, it kind of means fakes aren't an option. So this 3-2 split is kind of, I guess their goal is to try and get a couple of kills and regroup and hit a site. But they're going to have to do it without any kills, and Murky is going to be ready to snap off. Oh, he gets the call out on Brody in trouble, and all of a sudden it's a 3v5. And the B hit, before it even begins, is in tatters. I think he probably spots the bomb on radar as that happens. And with only 50 seconds back on the clock and no connect control, if they want to go back to A, they have to take the long way. And they're going to have to really get on their bikes if they're going to get on A side in time. Trials gets there ahead of the rest of his team, and he manages to get shut down, unfortunately, by Archer. And the bomb changed its mind yet again. It's back over to the B bomb site. Only 30 seconds, so there's no more changing your minds here. It's 5v2. Breeze is ready to receive the teams. This one player at Heaven get a nice headshot. They're going to need more than that to win the round. There's another one from Cyber. Dexy with a good AWP pick onto Cyber with the AWP, and now it's a 3v1. It's only Ryback who recovers the bomb. He plants it at default. But how's he going to get off? I can't even speak. I can't even speak. Apologies, viewers. 17-18. One more match point for London Lynx, otherwise we're going to overtime again.
Well, you had to cover the cast while...
having to do both jobs.
While technical difficulties ensued on the caster side, some players might have called a pause in an instance like this, but we don't have that.
Can we call a pause?
I don't think we have that sort of pull on the server just yet. But yeah, a lot of what you're highlighting is something that London Lynx are. London Lynx are at least a bit more decisive as what they're doing on their T side. It seems like they have an idea into every round as to what they want to do, and as they start to barrel on towards the A side, they catch that first player, and because they've killed that player, they know a rotate is coming from Crisp, and they've headed back down connector, figuring that because of the setup that they were using, there wouldn't be a player for the CT side to contest the connector position. But Breeze is alone on this B bomb site, as he will start getting swarmed in. All of these London Lynx players playing aggressive. Breeze finds one more in the meantime, but eventually goes down. Ryback getting the very late trade, but both these players sit now on 46 HP precisely, and despite the fact that they do have the site control, all these Crisp gamers are nearby, and as soon as they click that bomb, they know that the CTs are likely to push into them.
Yeah, that's it. Only the Galil and the UMP on the last round of overtime. They've already spent all their money. And Trouble finds one. Is he going to find the second hit? This could be a key frag. 1v1. AWP v AWP. Dexy v Trouble. Last map of the series. This 1v1 is going to decide whether this match continues. Dexy's going to stick the bomb. Does he know Dex? Oh, Trouble's going to have to push in. He's not going to find him in time unless he hits his wall back. He doesn't. And we're into overtime again. 18-18. This map continues to deliver. Gee whiz. I'm out of breath.
That is great recognition from Dexy to realize that Trouble, your post plant is terrible for this particular instance, and despite the fact that he had huge impact in getting those two frags, he didn't have the opportunity. He needs to sort of force the fight before Dexy was allowed to cross onto the bomb, and unable to do so, playing extremely passive given his low HP. We get now into a second overtime.
I don't know if I can handle anymore. I think I got a cramp in my hamstring there as I was calling that last clutch. I might need a medical substitution after this. But here we go. It looks like we're taking pace here from London Lynx as they go fast A. This got them the opening pick last round, but they weren't able to close it out. But it looks like they're going to stop as they reach the toilets.
So maybe figuring that they would have at least seen one of these Crisp gamers by now, and the fact that they haven't starts ringing some alarm bells, at least trying to check that there is a player in connector. And I think there was a singular player, I think it was Trials, that did prod down, and so that the door had at least suspiciously open. But at least now they know that that flank is very available for the Crisp side as they start to barrel onto the side. Ryback finds the entry, but Archer has two. And Ryback now has two of his own thus far. So smoking off that player in bank allows this bomb to go down, and the retake will come out, but two AWPs still alive on this retake makes things so difficult for this for the Crisp gamers.
It's a tough decision. Do you save these two AWPs? You don't want to end up having to eco on the last round. Oh, Trials wandering about in the open, offers up the opening kill to Dexy. It's now 3v2. They don't really have any utility. You can't smoke the bomb, but there's no Molotov on the London Lynx side either. So is it going to be a case of sticking the bomb and trying to hold off terrorists? Breeze finds one, finds two. Gee whiz, Breeze has been fantastic in some of these rounds. And that is the first round of the second overtime of the third map of this BO3 series on Overpass going to.
And there are other series waiting on the outcome of this game, as the winner of this game would go on to play the winner of Islamic Steak or Neds, and I've just been told that it is Neds that they will be playing in that best of three. So they are held up on this game as it goes into a second overtime. And despite me sort of pointing out the fact that they had the double ults on that retake, Dexy found a huge impact kill on that and forced the or made the retake a lot more efficient for the CTs, as they only had to be concerned of that short toilet position.
Yeah, well, it's quite Overpass is interesting because the CT AWPs are just so effective. and that having 2 AWPs is completely viable. But on T side, even 1 AWP can sometimes be more of a hindrance, right? It gives you some contact finish options, but sometimes running five rifles is viable. Looks like on this round, London Lynx are exploring Long A, which is an area of the map like it's probably like Madonna would say, like a virgin, touched for the very first time by London Lynx. And they're going to try a finish from Long A, which is not something that Chris would have seen before, but Dexy finds the first kill. This is a trend that they're finding the kill before the executes come in, but Brody and Charles quickly with frags onto the site, and that opens up the A bomb site, and Brody, this is the AWP shot that's uncharacteristic from Brody. Archer finds him, and that opens up the possibility of a retake. He finds a second frag. That's great fragging from the IGL. 3v2 now. Archer has stayed quiet in toilets. He's staying alive, giving his time for Breeze and Chrissy to come in from B, but Trials with some excellent headshots. And it's now just Archer making his heroics. He gets the first 1v1, smokes the bomb, finds out Trials' position, gets on the bomb and gets off it. Trials is whiffing his, he's waving his knife around in the smoke, and he misses it. I'm making some unusual noises, I apologize. But this is just far too exciting for me. I'm an old man, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
That's the kind of round that Brody will be absolutely horrified with, because of the fact that he had almost a dead set kill, and Archer has had a huge impact in this round to follow. Him not getting that kill allowed Archer to get 4 on that retake, and it's one of those things where the dominoes fall as they will, and we'll now see Chris Gamers on a 20th.
That's tough
round
for Brody. He's been almost a robot with those AWP shots, and that's really the first one I've seen him miss. But boy, was it critical.
So it does seem like London Lynx have another plan. Instead of going back towards A, they have opted towards B, but Breeze is on the B bomb side, and he's making it so difficult for them. Gets 3 kills as a result, but so Cyber will eventually take him down. Archer on that rotation catches out Brody, so Cyber has to do it all in this round, has to finish off with the ace clutch, and he won't be able to convert. Crisp get all 3 rounds on their CT
Gee whiz,
side.
Archer has been monumental in this second overtime. Wow, I don't know how many, but he's just got an absolute bag of frags in these last 3 rounds. Really, really impressive from him. And now London Lynx, best of 3, deciding map, are facing 3 match points. When we thought Crisp were down and out, all of a sudden they have the upper hand. They are on the T side, but 3 goes. They got three bites at the pie. Let's see if they can manage to swallow it. Is that even a say? I don't know. I'm just making crap up now.
London Lynx, though, were very, very convincing in regulation on their CT side. So I'd like to think that there's potential for this to go to a 3rd overtime, as it really took 9 rounds before Crisp started getting back into the swing of things on their T side, and there's been enough of a break kind of between that maybe Crisp don't remember how London Lynx are set up, and these rounds kind of fly by. It's very, very hard to keep track of things as they come, but Breeze will eat a lot of damage on that nade.
Right onto Breeze's noggin there, taking down 70 HP. That was a super nade.
Yeah, he's got the I think Breeze must have made a step, and
he's got a big noggin, does Breeze. I think it does extra damage when a nade hits him. But interesting to see, despite having all the money available to do so, no AWP. But hopefully they're not going to go through this smoke dry again. They're going to be absolutely murdered if they do so. In impact, that's the driver manages to get 2 before he's traded by Chrissy. Kicks into the B bomb side. Are they able to pick the barrels play? Yes, they are. Archer, yes, again, with more important frags. And he manages to find trouble as well. Archer in a 1v2. Right, they go win it.
As you said, he's been so critical in this overtime, or in the second overtime thus far. And can he convert? 4 kills he's to find, but peering over that smoke, he doesn't spot Brody initially, and he will go down. So London Lynx, things got very scary, especially when you're leaving Archer in those positions. But I'd like to say that the London Lynx they just look a little bit sort of scared on their CT side as of right now.
Well, I mean, they've been playing CS for a long time. This has been a long series, and errors have got to start creeping in at some point due to fatigue. Glad it's a lot. Well, as Archer gets his legs taken off him now, he's walking around in his hands, so he's got 17 HP. And they have, again, opted not to play with the AWP on this T side. They only have to fight 1 round. Murphy goes to the entry short, dry, and gets punished. So they're down a man already. At least they've taken control of the connector. area of the map, which means that those fakes, which have been somewhat effective in previous round survival. Trouble gets punished by Crizzy. Great awareness as he chops him off as he tries to go for that boost. And that returns things to equilibrium. We're in a 4v4. And the bomb has made its way over to short B. And London Lynx are wisely getting that extra rotation over to the B bomb site. And Archer, the lurk, has been punished. And it's now going to be hard work. But they've almost gone with a double bluff, as the lurk dies, but the bomb moves its way back to where the lurk once was. And that means that they are potentially going to have the luxury of finishing only into the one player, depending on how London Lynx shape these rotations.
So they do still have that singular player lurking over towards the B bomb side, and that is Crizzy. He's trying his best to make a presence and really keep these London Lynx players there, as Breeze will find a nice pick onto the A bomb side, but Crizzy unable to get anything found on that B bomb side. At least kept some of those players over, so the rotates will come in a little bit delayed, but Dexy's planting in a position where if Birdie were to push out a bank, he would get taken down rather swiftly. He is fully splashed that entire duration, and it leaves now Breeze in a 1 versus 3 as it ultimately, but won't find anything further. London Lynx will convert another round, bringing it into a 21-20 scoreline. And I'd like to point out the fact that you mentioned that they hadn't invested into an open. Perhaps they sort of heated your forward now.
Well, it's not worked for them, has it? Shows that I know. They've gotten close. T-side rounds have been at a premium in these overtimes. What, have all the rounds been won by CTs so far? They have, all of them. Nice. All of them on both overtimes. So I don't know. They've been getting closer than perhaps other attempts, but they only need one. But they've only got one more shot in the second overtime. Here we go.
We could force it to a third overtime in one of these lower bracket best of threes. The third map, and hopefully one of these teams is finally able to close things out. At least crisp, as they've been on a phenomenal tear since losing those first 9 rounds on the T-side regulation, but they start going into the B-bomb side.
Whilst dancing around the smoke, Murky left in a 1v3. Oh gee whiz, that whiff flash has cost them dearly as they go into the site. Murky, is he going to find Cybers? Oh, he misses the shot onto the top of Cybers. Ryder manages to finish. I'm laughing, but third overtime. Yeah. I'm really hungry. Yeah. Have we got any snacks?
No, I don't believe that's something that we've been supplied. Yeah, but we are going into a third overtime. I mean, if you want, you could take a technical pause.
That's it. As long as these microphones don't pick up my stomach rumbling, then I think we'll be alright. Overtime number 3, and this time with Lynx on the CT side.
Yes, Lynx is able to convert those last 3 rounds on their CT side. They'll hope to do so again and give themselves the best opportunity when they go into the T side, as we've seen marginal success from both of these teams thus far in outside of regulation.
Well, it seems all you need is one T-side round and that's going to give you the match, but no one's been able to get it so far. We've had 6 match points. Well, 6 match points in overtime plus 5 in regular time. So we've had 11 match points lost in total so far this game. 11 chances for me to be able to go and get food, and they haven't delivered yet.
It's a disappointing one at that. And
well, it isn't disappointing because this is riveting Counter-Strike, and I say that genuinely because this is pretty exciting.
Well, Birdie is able to find that first pick onto Murky, so things open up for the London Lynx side, but that's not the side that is trying their best to get at least that one round, so that when they do switch sides, they'll have the best opportunity of winning in this third overtime. So it does look like they are grouping up over towards the A-bomb site, but there's a bit of aggression from the CT side. It is Trials. He's put himself in a great position to deal with the rotation. He gets the bomb. So Archer, not rotating as fast as some of his other teammates, does drop the bomb, and 20 seconds remain on the clock. Crizzy's the only one close enough, and because that bomb had been dropped over towards A, they have to commit to this site now. Not enough time to clear out the B bomb site. Get into the plant, and Trouble will find all 3 frags as they enter his sight, bringing London Lynx to another successful CT round.
If you're Archer and you're in charge of Crisp here, what do you call it? What are you even calling at this stage? As a fellow IGL, I really sympathise. What do you even? You didn't have anything prepared for in the first place, let alone 21 rounds into 21 T-side rounds played. So I don't know what they can even try at this stage.
Yeah, I think even for a team that would be more experienced, you start to run out of ideas as to what could be successful. Is sometimes it just comes down to how the CT side are set up in particular instances and whether they decide to do any aggression, but it will be a mark of aggression by Murky in this instance, finding a nice entry onto Cyber, and maybe that's the catalyst for Crisp gamers to come back into this into their T-side half.
Well, T-side rounds, they're like diamonds in Minecraft. They're very, very difficult to find so far. Haven't dug deep enough yet, but maybe finally they've hit Minecraft. I don't know why I'm making Minecraft memes. I'm actually going to say that's another pick. It's 5v3 Breeze. Why has Breeze got the AWP? God knows. Murky spots a guy over the sandbags. That's Trouble. Fumbling behind the smokes. He tries to throw another smoke. He throws his head. Backs his way out of the smoke. Somehow he's still alive. Finds Crizzy. It's now 4v3. Trials and Brody come to the rescue, finding frags. And now it's a 2v2. Murky finds yet another frag. He's been instrumental in this round. Tucked in at barrels, flashed as Trials. Do they know he's there? He's looking into the ground. He could be the thorn in the side. Oh, he gets smoked out. That means he's not able to pop up and find the frag. He swings out. He gets killed by Dexy. And now it's Brody in the 1v2. He's coming up the ramp. Murky hears him and chops off his head. And that's the first T-side round. How important is that going to be? Hallelujah. We finally got one.
And hopefully they don't sort of allow an opportunity for London Lynx, because both of them have been fighting through these overtimes to get that crucial T-side round. I just found it odd that Murky sort of exchanged positions with that CT player around that smoke.
That was chaos. It is something ironic. Murky's the one of 2 AWPers. He's given the AWP to Breeze, and then Murky with the rifle, which he hasn't wanted to use all LAN, has started getting the entry frags. What's going? We're into the Bermuda Triangle rounds now, where just crazy stuff starts happening. Here he is, entry frag.
Continue to mix things up. Murky gets a nice entry on Cyber, and he will fall back successfully, not able to get that trade on the CT side. But hopefully he's able to regroup with his team, or may even opt to lurk, as that seems like a strategy that Crisp has been very comfortable with running, and players like Breeze or I think Crizzy in another round. But they have taken control of Connector, and they are moving up towards A, but given the utility on their belt, they might decide to try and throw a smoke such that they can lurk up towards long and really have London Lynx guessing as to whether they're going to explode.
But Lynx are going to know what's up because they're at long A. They're tucked into that corner. They're going to know this isn't a genuine A hit. And because the bomb has to rotate the long way, they're probably going to get greeted by multiple players on the B side if that's where they go. Indeed, that's what's happening. The rotation is coming in from heaven. That long A player is a long way away from the action, so he's probably not going to be able to get involved. But it looks like that's going to be a... Oh, if they come onto the B bomb site, they're going to be greeted by 3 people here. They come out monster way. They managed to find 1. Crizzy trades. Trouble's there as well. Trouble finds a second, but we're in a 2v2. But do they know that the extra player is on the B bomb site? Archer works his way in now.
So Trials now on this flank could prove critical if he's able to time this fast enough, as the clock starts to wind down. They still haven't planted the bomb, so Archer will get that down in the last second, but given this timing by Trials, he could catch both of these players. He finds the first onto Breeze, he gets the follow-up onto Archer. London Lynx will convert their 3rd CT round and push everything to 22-23, and we hope that maybe that Crisp can either replicate that same score or at least get their 3 rounds that they've consistently gotten in these overtimes so far.
Well, they need to do it. They need all 3 to win it. Otherwise, we are here for overtime number 95.
Things start to get a little bit.
I'm going to get cranky in a second. I'm going to start to get a little bit moody. I'm going to start. Nice B magic is gone.
Well, I've appreciated at least the references that you're making out of hunger, as you attempt to find something comparative to say in some of these rounds. As it does look like London Lynx are going to be entering onto their T side. Trials would be the one to try and entry for that for them on towards B, but
Oh, no,
Murky
Charles
here
has
with the
slipped
boost.
past.
He does actually spot it out. It lands the shot onto Murky. A fantastic opening by Trials. Making sure to even check that boost, let alone land the shot. It's so much more difficult for Dexy and Co. So because of that, Archer is going to try and take connector control, and that will give another opening for Saiba. And London Lynx now, all they need to do is group up and decide which of these sites they want to hit.
Yeah, that's it. We thought the CT, it was going to be all CT Counter-Strike from now on, but as often happens in these crazy overtime games, it looks like all of a sudden they figured out how to play T-side overpass after 50 rounds of trying. And the group up is coming in on short, and it's going to require some significant heroics from the CTs, who aren't even really playing from the sides. They're playing for headshot, or they've made their way in, they've made their way into truck. Dexy's going to need to, not Dexy, it's Breeze is going to need to get multiple frags, but doesn't get any. And it's now 1v4. Desperation times from Chrissy. Don't know whether he decides to go for it at this stage.
I can't say this AWP he will, especially since he's just been spammed down to 2 HP through that metal fencing, but yeah, it seems like you win one round, we'll win one round back. Both of these teams are happy to match each other's scores. Simply push things further overtimes, but Chrissy gets baited out by all of the noise that Trial is making, and yeah, London Lynx will be at 24 now.
Chrissy tried to do the fake drop there, to try to pretend that he was dropping out of heaven and tried to catch the exit frags by actually staying up, but Trials was obviously wise to it. Doesn't really matter, they still got the double up, perhaps less utility than they might have liked. 2 more match points. Can London Lynx finally close out this game?
Well, if we see more of these fantastic entries that we saw Trial get in the previous round, then I definitely put this into London Lynx's favor. I'd almost want to paint the storyline that Chris was deserved to win after being down and to get backs against the wall, especially being an inexperienced lineup, that they have done so well to bring things back and to make things at least a very close game between this London Lynx side that are a fairly new lineup, but are a team that have practiced together and established what they want to do in, say, default rounds and setups. But ultimately, this becomes the hard grind. London Lynx are walking out of Monster, but Murky scopes in, takes one down. Chrissy as well. Follow kill onto Trials. All of these B-bomb side players will clean things up on the London Lynx side.
You know what's happening, don't you?
It's likely to go to a second, to a third OT or fourth. I've lost track at this point.
It says OT2 up there, but it's been more than that, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
it has been. So
That must have been the second half of OT.
we'll believe it will be OT number 4. It should be.
I think it's number 4.
But
Holy moly.
there is still a line of thinking that does not have that happen. Therefore, we can remain on schedule for the rest of the games that will be cast and played for the night. But it does look like London Lynx, I don't know that they've run this boost previously, so should that into it as Birdie punishes that aggression from Archer, but Chrissy is keen to it, catches Ryback out, and I'd almost like to have seen the low HP player go for that pick, because a headshot angle and a bit of a weird one at that, at least then you have more people on full HP that can trade effectively going into the CT side bomb sites, but there's enough utility now that Crisp, should they find out which site they want to hit, they have Molotovs that can delay the London Lynx players, and as time starts to wind down, those grenades become more and more crucial. But it does seem like they have decided that A is the site they want to hit, Trials being the one to try and fake things out towards B, throwing all the nades, but Murky catches him closing the door and wall bangs him through
important
connector.
frag for information. Breeze tucked in the corner. Dexy gets that wall on the first frag, allowing Breeze to get the follow-up.
And it's going to
It's overtime.
another overtime.
Overtime number 4.
Your stomach is not happy.
Can you hear it now?
No,
Can
but
you hear it? I'm talking to people in the room as if you watching this stream could actually see who I'm talking to. I've actually lost my marbles. At some point, I'm hoping that these guys pause so we can at least go to the loop. I'm holding it for now. This is nuts. This is not what I signed up for.
yeah, I thought this would be we'd set things up to be a fairly convincing London Lynx win, but losing their map pick and now onto a very, it doesn't seem like anybody will not make it for this exact reason, in that they can't establish good footing on their T side. But yeah, we will enter a fourth overtime, and a lot of people in this in the LAN hall are probably waiting for this game to conclude.
I imagine there's quite a crowd forming around. This tends to happen when these sort of matches going on. What it's down to now is really, it sounds cheesy to say, but it's about mental fortitude, right? At some point, someone is going to make a mistake on a crucial round, and it's really just about making sure it's not you.
Yeah.
And that gets really tough for the Crisp players who are probably slightly less experienced, but they might have some of that more youthful energy to just keep going and going and going and going. They've been playing. They played a best of 3 before this, right? It's not like this is the three maps they've just played now. It's really map 6 of an epic that they've played. We see a trade come in. Archer trades 1 for 1 for Trials, which is a good opening. It allows London Lynx to sort of blow into that B bomb site for short. Trouble getting that entry frag next, and yet another one to Breeze. That's great aim, great tap aim from Trouble as he takes down Breeze and gives himself the 4v2 after plant. Looks like all of a sudden, after a drought of T-side rounds, we're going to see yet another one for the London Lynx, unless Crizzy and Murky can pull off a retake. But Murky is stopping to admire the artwork in Playgrounds, and I assume that means they're not going for the retake.
Yeah, the artwork is rather pretty, but
Nice flowers.
yeah, the Trouble is it's great initiative by him. He's really taken that role into entering that bomb site and converting both of those kills for next to nothing. He didn't go down to low HP that maybe it would tempt a player like Crizzy to at least entertain the idea of retaking the site. Does both of those kills very cleanly, and London Lynx take that round, surviving with 4 people alive. And the economy in overtime doesn't usually matter, but when you're double investing into AWPs, if you're unable to carry any of those forward into rounds that you do lose, then you could end up in a situation where you're forced onto CZs and just a handful of utility. But fortunately, they were able to save a singular AWP on the side of Crisp.
True. I mean, they're still not going to have that much if they lose this round. So this is almost, I mean, it's a sort of a quasi match point of its own, because if they lose this round and they CZ buy into the next one, then I mean, that's a 3-0 T-side half for London Lynx, and I'd say that is probably GG.
Yeah, that is probably game
now.
over.
I'm seeing a couple of questions in the chat. Yes, the winner of this plays Neds, right, in a best of 3. Lucky them. And then, yes, the winner of that game goes on to play CEX in the lower bracket final. The winner of that goes on to play Radix and Friends in the grand final BO5 tomorrow. While I've been explaining that, Murky's found the opening kill with his AWP to bring it into a 5v4. The bomb is positioned outside Monster, and Crizzy is ready to receive them.
Bomb will actually get spotted on the side of London Lynx, so that's a lot of information for the CT side. They will start making rotations now, and as time has wound down, only 20 seconds remain. They have to finish this. Cyber will at least take down Crizzy, so he has the bomb and he can get out Monster safely, but there are so many AWPs trained on these choke points going up to the B bomb side, and Murky will be one of them. And he will find both of those kills as they enter through that smoke. So the brackets are shaping up to be fairly long, and they, even if these players do win, I imagine there will at least be a short break, but the schedule does get pushed further and further back as these overtimes do continue. Things are tied up at 25 rounds apiece. London Lynx have gotten a successful T-side round thus far. If they're able to get a second, that favors heavily into this overtime, as we've seen both of these teams play so well on their CT side.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they need... you can let one T-side round slip maybe, but 2 would probably be asking a little bit too much the way things have been going so far. So this is another really critical round. And it looks like London Lynx opting for this grouping in toilets. That seem to be, as the game goes on, they're really just opting for some pack of players CS, keeping things simple as they flow into the Archer gets 2 important frags. He's been really instrumental on the same bomb side. Dexy working around truck with the AWP. He kills one and the bomb planter, leaving Cyber in a 1v3. He's had some heroics earlier in this match already. Everyone's had some heroics. We've had 50 rounds, for heaven's sake. But Cyber, probably this one's a little bit too much to ask for. He gets spotted out at truck. He knows where one player is, but everyone knows what he is. And Breeze comes in from bank to finish him off. That's the second half of overtime 4 of match 3 of the best of 3 between Crisp and London Lynx here at Epic Land 24.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers being thrown around, and it's getting to that point now where almost a stupid play almost would maybe catch these players out. We've seen London Lynx try and be a bit more unorthodox in the way they try and take the site, usually throwing a lot of nades and utility, and in that particular instance they just sort of trickled in and tried to play it a little bit more dry.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen everything at this stage.
Yeah.
The time for the stupid gamble plays was when you had the 3 match points in the first 2 overtimes, when you had 3 chances. Equation's a little bit different here because they have to get one to stay in the game. And I don't think either of these teams are going to be willing to gamble their tournament lives, though they might. If it gets too late, they might just say screw us at some stage. And indeed, a Fati is coming in from short B. Breeze gets taken down by Trouble and Cyber. We're effectively dealing with the side. Tom gets dropped to Monster, and then Archer is left. He was going to be lurking up connector, but he's now forced to try clutch 1v5, which we know isn't going to happen.
Yeah, Crisp are so happy to run that lurk, and it's so few times, but...
Well, no, look, I think to be fair, there's a couple of times, maybe more so on previous maps on Dust 2 and Inferno, if we can remember back that far. They've been really, really effective and round winning, in fact. But who knows? Who knows at this stage?
So the game does get tied up once again at 26 apiece. All on Birdie will spot out those players running over towards playgrounds, and with that information he will fall back, and that means that this gamer side, so this Crisp gamer side, as I'm forgetting the team names, has long control and bathroom. So Trouble still jump spotting, at least trying to see if they entertain the idea of at least showing themselves over towards short or over towards B, as they look for something over towards the A bomb site. Murky posted with that ult over towards that sign position, should anybody potentially jump spot from bank, or even just give it a quick glimpse and hope that nobody's going to hit that shot. But that AWP able to get those types of openings for that side.
Trials playing with fire literally as he's jiggle peeking with a nade in his hand. If he gets punished here, this could open up the floodgates onto the A bomb site. But the short peek gets 3 extra players on A. The trade comes in 1-for-1 on Trials. This could be very, very dangerous with broken play from that truck position. Indeed, he manages to get one, and that is shut down. And we have match point.
Our 4th
for London Lynx, except this time
they've had a T-side round. Yeah.
That this is the first match point that we've had for the CT side in overtime. At least there was a fair few of them. So look at the buy. Could this finally be it?
Well, it's definitely not looking good for the Crisp gamer side. London Lynx on these site holds have been very convincing, keeping 4 players alive at least in each of those instances. And maybe the Crisp gamers have run out of ideas. Archer does go down in middle in the meantime, as they have made their way out of the bathrooms. Trials will find another one to Breeze, and slowly the chips are falling for the Crisp gamers. 3 versus 5. Typically we see a terrorist maybe getting an entry, and we at least entertain the idea that they could get onto the site and win the round, but the walls start to close in. Murky, Dexy, left one standing for the Crisp gamers, and they will get converged on. Charles does give up his life, however, and this is so difficult. The bomb is dropped in open view for the London Lynx side, as they already will jiggle that angle occasionally to see if they covered it, and Trouble finally closes things out. 26 to 28 the score in the 4th overtime.